Okay, let's see if we still got it with this. Yeah, that door's gonna take forever. Anyway, hey everybody, what's up? Sadly, this is Retrokid Reviews bringing some unfortunate, sad news to Whovians around the world for the Russell T Davies, I guess, second act era of Doctor Who, for those who don't know. I started off this channel actually watching the Tennant and I believe Matt through the 12th Doctor era of the show during Moffat, and obviously Russell here via Teen Hood. But let's get this out of the way with the riddled ads aside. Yeah, from Deadline and I guess everywhere else in the world, that the upcoming Christmas special that was going to kick off whatever was going on here with the Bad Wolf era to probably get a new Doctor after Ncuti Addoe's era of the character, unfortunately is canceled for this year and probably for the foreseeable future, due to BBC planning to not take this cancellation lightly. They looked at all avenues. This is officially from, I believe, Doctor Who's official blog post that got linked in bio, I think, throughout their socials throughout the day. So, to put it nicely, I am a huge fan of the series. I've only been around during the modern era of the show. Like I said early on in this video, for this retro news, I wasn't around doing proper reviews for Ncuti's era of the character, but I've heard nothing but good news for his first season, so for his second and final season as the Doctor. But not for nothing, it was still something to be known and be seen and heard. I guess he was more, out of all the Doctors, surprisingly the most queer-centric focus for Pride, if anything else. By the way, for my obvious queer audience, hi, happy Pride. Sorry if you've seen the weird cinematic cruddy hands. Dinner's gonna be dinner for this kind of story. So, with that said, my overall thoughts for the news is heartbreaking, to put it nicely. This is probably the oldest merch I've had of the Doctor throughout my entire time watching the series during the Russell T Davies to now. I've tried going back to older eras like 7 through 8, I think the 4th for a good bit. Haven't really gotten around to 6 or 5 for their eras, because I believe by that time I was watching a lot of Channel Awesome shows and creators talking about that era of the show. Obviously, Radio Dead Air comes to mind for those who are old enough in the tooth as far as my subscribers go. So that's kind of where I am. No word yet if they'll still go forward with something to I guess hold over in the meantime. There is some other, I forgot here, long-term future, rest assured, CB's, their animation series that they were doing, I guess, to reanimate stuff from the show. I think that's still currently in production. I don't know about the Big Finish audio, which for old Whovians would know that would be their, in extended universe kind of stuff with eras of the Doctors of your favorites that never got around to like close out any plot points or some specific episodes. Big Finish was also a good avenue to basically adapt a lot of the 8th Doctor going into the modern era for like Steven's time with the time as showrunner and so forth. So, on to my overall thoughts. It's a tragic way to have this go. I best guess streaming era was just not, like, viable for BBC to keep this going here internationally around the world. I've watched it on BBC America here in the States for the longest time since, shoot, I want to say 10th Doctor. It was weird and kind of off, I'm not saying off-putting, but it was kind of a, at the time, knee-jerk decision I think BBC had to do to get it on Disney Plus last couple of years of the show. So, again, I haven't been around through most of, unfortunately, the Jodie Whittaker 13th Doctor tragedy of a-hole fans, trying to be a-hole fans and being blatantly sexist to what was a very garden variety regeneration as far as the character goes, the same with obviously Ncuti's case as well. So, with all that said, this is not a goodbye, it's a see you later, when you could definitely tell with this franchise. They survived their 90s, they survived lower ratings even during, I guess even the original series era in the, for BBC. So, I'm not saying there will be a way, but there will always be a way for this TARDIS to come back into this, into my channel, and more importantly, for the series as a whole. So, as probably I'm going to be doing tributes, by that I mean, dusting off this old, toy version and probably put it back there for, I guess as my general, bereft of how I feel about this franchise. Not the only sonic screwdriver I have. For those who remember my early days reviewing, I had a sonic screwdriver, I think of the 11th first before the 10th. I could be wrong there, so that it goes. And probably have to fix the door probably later. So continuity errors aside, let's get to the other bit of rapid fire retro news, starting off with the Dart Zone tag stuff. More importantly, Old Man Tag and Wallcom S7 did a good roundup and pick your obvious Nerf influencer here, talking about the X-Shot Pro line for the barrel break, the X-Shot Mark II, which I'm going to try to get probably next week after Supergirl. And obviously the Thrasher has been making the rounds with decent body kits from Xbox Industries, so go to their, I believe, YouTube short of the body kit and probably some minor upgrades they did there. As for the barrel break, Old Man Tag here figured out a not sound method, but a decent mod strategy to do a potentially old school Angel Breeze brass kit. Don't know how that's going to be call-it-wise for the built-in B card they give you for the product in general. I think he also was planning ways to do a brass kit in general with Call It for, I want to say that might be the Pro Longshot X. Nope, that's just barrel break. Sorry, reading the community post as I go along, sorry. As for Wallcom's content, he's definitely done, I think, the most stress testing for the Longshot Part 2.0, mainly because, for those who remember the original release, it had a notoriously crackable plunger, which had to be immediately metal barrel kitted from the jump. So hopefully, if I get a hand on my copy of that blaster, I will probably stress test it myself off screen. Sorry, I had dinner between. I will try to off-screen stress test it to make sure everything works just fine. There is a bit of a gear issue for, I want to say, the prime for the stroke of the prime. I'm guessing it's the only thing Zuru has as locks or some sort of like Brock some sort to basically keep it going for the restrictions they limitedly have for this blaster series. My favorite, if this is before I'm buying all of these blasters, just putting that down here for this recording, I think my favorite is going to be barrel break. I know the big disappointing nature of the barrel break's entire marketing was that it was going to be a hammer style prime like hammer shot, and most of other pro blasters before we had hammer primes. It is back to being a traditional T-pull kind of grip prime. I'll have a blaster the day I get this blaster for review here for the channel to have a better example. Like probably the Hasbro Pilot for the rival line. That'll probably explain more sense there as far as that T-pull construction goes. Aside from that, I do have one last thing product-wise before I let you go. That is, I think I don't remember which review last week I teased the idea of getting an Action Man figure, but the Hasbro Pulse stream happened for the G.I. Joe fandom earlier today as of this recording, and we have stills here. This is straight from Pulse's pre-order page. I don't have hang on, let me see if I can get a better look here. The more obvious common complaint I've heard so far with the sculpt was that it was looking a little bit Tom Cruise-y when you get the old head sculpt, among other things. Let me see if I could get a few more pics of the packaging and stuff. For UK viewers, you already know, aside from Doctor Who earlier in this video, that Action Man was one of your go-to franchises like the 80s and 90s. And to put it bluntly, if I could get the... There we go. We get the packaging here. Yeah, you can definitely see a lot of inspirations of the original series, the original UK series. Another thing for those who don't know about this particular toy line is that it was never traditionally 1/12 scale, aka 6" here in the States. So to have all these accessories and everything here from the jump, sorry for the cinematics, everything here from the jump is pretty surprising, and seeing it shrunk down to this classified series accessories. Since we're talking about accessories, let's talk about some of the stuff they're going to be using off of. Starting off on the weapons front, it's a mix of, I believe, a wrap-up, I think. Yeah, he has a couple of weapons. He has some main blasters. He has the, obviously, Outback medium-range revolver, that not revolver, medium-range AR that I've used historically here for the channel as a Retro Rider, aka my future self, if we're going back into kayfabe. I believe, I'm going to call it for safety purposes for this pick, his M14, but we're going to call it here their DMR, which is what Recondo has here. So it's that minus the tape up. There is some reuse of tape up, but colored throughout all of this figure. The boot knife is, I think, about the same as Alpex as well. There's some additional changes, like obviously the rappel gear, obviously the mountain climbing stuff that this character is mostly known for, I think, in the UK series. Not sure here in the States where we had it. I believe it was that, or this toy line was renamed Max Steel here in the States. So I'm probably going to have to go to friend of the channel here, Austin Trench, who is a big Max Steel fan. We talked about it years ago here on the channel, if they're basically the same toy line. So with that all being said, wrap-ups. Unfortunately, this is going to be a big draw of a price here in the States. It's $42.99. Don't know in UK pound and around the world. I believe Fan First, or the Fan Series, whatever they called the UK version of Pulse, is going to get it in more available stores outside of online. Here in the States, though, however, it's Pulse only, so I'm going to have to try to pre-order it now. Get lucky at a con, or get lucky at a local comic shop if somebody got that on sale or in their inventory, which I doubt they will, but we'll find out when we figure that out. So, on to wrap-ups. It is very sad that Doctor Who is on ice for all intents and purposes as of the cancellation of the Christmas special that they traditionally have throughout the show's history since the beginning of the new era. I am very excited to see what will happen with reviewers when they get their hand on not just the Action Man figure I mentioned earlier here today, but obviously how the mod and Nerf scene are handling so far with the X-Shot releases. I think all three of these blasters should be out as of this month of recording on June 2026. So again, I will report back to you if I get any of these three blasters, and I will try my best to do a dedicated review with one of them at the very least. So, with all that said, and eyeing up the whole reason why I want this figure is to be my new human form aside and finally get a 7-inch just in time for Mattel's DC. Yeah, I heard there were some early reviews of the True figures, and they look great, and cannot wait for more. And looking more into the future said, this is Retrokid Reviews doing a, I guess, minor puppeting here to the end cards to my previous video here, which was obviously talking about the new episodes of Vox Machina and my overall thoughts with Spire Noir over the weekend. Go to, I believe, a now retired TARDIS over there to see my shorts playlist. That will probably be 8 things I missed when it comes to this particular news in case anything changes on the day. So I'm going to have to check What Culture and a bunch of other UK YouTubers that'll have a better grip on the situation that I've already seen so far. And a hand here, obviously, to sub to the channel, hit the notification bell down below. High point the video if you are new to the channel. And until next time, I am Rich Review saying... So is this going to be my Tom Cruise form or what? That's not going to be weird, right? Anyway, with that all said, my condolences to the Doctor, and may the TARDIS fly again someday. 2 hearts and all, hopefully.